No one warns you about this part about getting older. Not your doctor, not your mother, not your sister, not the woman who spent decades trying to fit in, show up, and hold everything together for everyone else. Nobody sits you down and says, there's actually great and wonderful perks coming your way in retirement. Real ones, quietly liberating ones, occasionally laugh out loud perks that nobody puts in the retirement brochure. Because everything we've been told about getting older is about loss. What we can't do anymore, what changes, what hurts. And I spent a long time believing that story until I stopped. Here's what I found on the other side. I want to be honest with you before we get into this. I'm not here to tell you and pretend that getting older is all sunshine and rainbows and senior discounts. You probably know me better than that. My knees have their own opinions. My back hurts often, and some mornings feel like just negotiation just to get out of bed. But there's a layer underneath all of that, a kind of freedom that doesn't come in your 20s or your 30s or even in your 40s. It comes much later, quietly. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Which brings me to my first one. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been at a perfectly nice party with perfectly nice people and felt a quiet, powerful urge just to go home? Not because anything was wrong, just because you knew in your bones that your favorite chair was much better than this. That used to feel like a personal failing, like something was wrong with me. Because I would rather be at home by 8:30 than stay for another hour and make small talk about someone's kitchen renovation. Here's the truth. That is not a flaw. That's wisdom. And here's the beautiful part. At this age, you can leave. You can sigh softly, glance at your watch, and say, well, look at the time. And everyone in the room will nod with genuine understanding. No explanation needed. No follow-up questions to answer. Just a graceful exit into the quiet evening. I have used this more times than I could admit. And then there's something called JOMO, the joy of missing out. You've heard of FOMO, the fear of missing out. JOMO is the complete opposite. JOMO is when you get a Friday night invitation, and instead of scrambling to go and get ready, you feel a warm wave of relief wash over you. Just because you have other plans. Those plans may involve lounge pants and a new book you've been reading. No need to say sorry. No need to feel bad about it. This isn't laziness. This is a woman who finally knows what she actually wants. Now, can we talk about shoes? Because I think shoes are actually a metaphor. Bear with me. I spent decades wearing shoes that hurt my feet. Not slightly uncomfortable. Actually hurt. Heels at functions, tights everywhere, even in the heat. The whole performance. And I wore them because that's what you did. That was what looking right required. Here's the truth about performing comfort. You don't feel. You get used to it that you actually stop noticing the weight of it. I can't tell you the exact moment I stopped, but I remember what it felt like. It felt like setting down something I had been carrying for so long that I had forgotten that I was carrying it. That's what wardrobe liberation actually is. It's not elastic waistbands, although yes, absolutely yes, it is that too. It's the moment that you realize that how you feel and how you look are two completely different decisions. And you finally get to choose a sweater with deep pockets that allows you to carry your entire life in, your Hoka runners because they're just so comfy to walk in, and they don't punish you just for existing. Those are not concessions, those are upgrades. And if someone finds your choices unusual, at this age, they don't say that it's bad taste. They say you're eccentric, you're full of character, you're interesting. I have leaned into this identity completely. Now, this is one I really want to talk about because the shoes and the early exits, that's just the surface of something much bigger. The real perk of getting older, the quiet depletion of a lifetime supply of worry about what other people think. I don't give a damn. Let me ask you something. How much of your 20s did you spend editing yourself, choosing the smaller version of who you wanted to be or to say or to do, shrinking into the shape that felt safe? I spent a lot of mine doing that. And somewhere along the way, not all at once, but slowly, like a fog lifting, I stopped. Not because I stopped caring about people. I care deeply. But caring about people and needing their approval are two different things. And here's the thing. Getting older draws that line very clearly in the sand. You start to say what you actually mean. You stop participating in the drama that has nothing to do with you. You speak up in a room where you used to go quiet. That is not something they tell you to look forward to, but maybe they should, because it is one of the most quietly powerful things that I've ever felt. If this video feels like a conversation that you wish somebody would have had with you sooner, please hit that like button so others can find this video, and it also helps my channel out. Okay, I want to stay in that space with you for a bit. I really do, but I also promised you perks, and some of them are wonderfully, unapologetically practical. And honestly, after everything that we've talked about, you deserve one that just makes you laugh. And then there is the seniors discount. We treat them like a consolation prize, like the universe handing you a coupon for everything that you had used to do earlier. But here's what they actually are. You have been contributing to this world for decades. You have worked, you've built, you've cared for people, you've shown up over and over again. And now the coffee shop gives you a 10% discount, or Shoppers gives you a 20% discount just for showing up with gray hair. That's not a consolation prize. That's a standing ovation in a coupon form. Accept it with grace. Accept it with delight. Accept it every time without a moment's hesitation. Here's what I know now. We spend so much time grieving getting older, measuring what's been lost against some imaginary version of the woman that we thought we would be by now. And I understand that. I really do. Some of it is real loss. Some of it is genuinely hard. But underneath all of it, quietly, there is a kind of freedom that only comes from having lived long enough to know who you actually are, what you actually want, what is genuinely worth your time, your energy, and your presence, and what really isn't. The party that you left at 8:30, the shoes that hurt your feet, the opinion you finally get to say out loud in a room where you used to feel quiet, the Friday night you spent at home doing exactly what you wanted. Those are not small things. Those are evidence that something has shifted in exactly the right direction. I would love to know, what is the most unexpected perk of getting older that you've discovered? Leave it in the comments. I would love to hear your story. Thanks for being here, and we will see you on the next one.